So I know that Stone Gremlins has already binge watched the whole thing, but I'm a little behind. So we're doing Transformers. This was an episode from 2 weeks ago, and then we'll watch last night. The One World is next. Okay. This is Truth. This is the one before One World, One People. In this episode, we have the Kal Kat. Yeah, we have the false Captain America agent guy gets in a fight with Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the beginning, and then they apprehend him, basically take him back to the thing. Then we have but then he gets kind of court-martialed and dishonorable discharge and kicked out. Yells at the senator guy, and it's seen very similar to the Jack Nicholson movie from years ago. You can't handle the truth, that kind of thing. Which is probably where they got the title from. So we have the Flag Smashers, who are related to something from the 80s version of the. So that name is actually from the comics, but they were utilized more in the 90s, not the 2000s really so much. The whole Winter Soldier Agent X thing is different. There were different iterations of it. This version of it is he's called Captain America, even though he should be U.S. Agent. He was Captain America for a while, and they both. In the comic book, in this version, they had to speed things along and do it in like 5 or 6 episodes. But the comic book, I guess, went on longer. It was like a miniseries. It's interesting that they adapted it. They also kind of set up in previews is the sister Sarah and the other character's gonna die or something. They didn't really do that. I'm assuming the Flag Smashers are after bigger prey than the guy's sister, and they want to like shut down the relocation camp act at the end of the story. They've closed down their school in the other country, so they leave to go to New York at the end. Bucky and Sam go to set up the boat, and then they decide not to sell it at the end. Nothing happens to the boat. Thought for sure something would. There's a training montage where there's 2 of them. There's the first one where him and Bucky are training. It's from the trailer. And then there's one where Falcon did. And then there's one where Falcon is alone training with it. They took the shield back, basically. And the government didn't own it. I guess technically it belongs to the Falcon, because the original Cap gave it to him. Retired it, but the government took it, and then they made up this phony captain guy that ended up being crazy, who took the serum and it drove him nuts, and it made him kill one of the serum people. There's also a plot device where the Sam character goes to visit the super soldier, ex-super soldier, and learns his past, similar to the Tuskegee Airmen, that story, and the Red Tails and that kind of thing, in the history books. Similar to that. It's kind of a parallel. They even reference that. But in the Tuskegee Airmen story and the Tuskegee people story, they didn't put super serum in the real story. It was syphilis and other things. They were trying to like drive them nuts or something. Kind of weird. They didn't have super serum back then. It wasn't eugenics. It was just they were messing with it, which is messed up. But in this version, it's something science fictiony. So the other guy didn't want to wear the shield or whatever, because Whitey had the shield, But he was in the ice. Didn't know. The ice thing is different because in the modern comic books, in the modern Marvel movies, in order to bring events forward into the present, they kind of had to say, okay, he was frozen in ice for 70 years and then woke up. But that was because the Captain America stories, the comic books continued to the 40s and 50s, and then appeared again in the 70s, and then there wasn't any frozen in ice thing until the 80s, I believe. They did that in the 80s. Anyway, so the whole frozen Captain America thing, they changed that. In the comic books, Yeah, it was only like 1970 something when they brought him back. So they said, okay, he was in suspended animation somewhere. It was like 20 years, and then every time they reinvented him, they had to make him later and later. They had U.S. Agent doing him and stuff like that. Other Captain America and Captain and things like that. In the 90s, it was Liefeld's weird Captain like ripoff, Commander America or whatever it was. And then there was a bunch of other things. They've been reinventing it over and over again. And when the movie started, they're like, okay, it's actually been 70 years. So we have to change that. Yeah. Yeah, so there's really nothing even remotely like Kal Kat in here. We did get to see at the very end in the council chamber the Morton Roadkill standing in the council chamber. That was funny. Going, which is remarkably similar to Milpitas Monster, Kal Kat. His father looking up, looking surprised when they get the council chamber hacked by the hacker. Similar scene, so he's there. Yeah, so he's like, oh, very similar. But very similar. But yeah, this is cameo. So we go on to. Yeah, well, I don't think there's any others though. Just that one. Green screen was fun. But yeah, it's not going to be credited anywhere, so don't look for it. Yeah, so the guy. I think the guy just looks like him. That's what it is. Yeah, he's just imitating it. He's a fan. Yeah. We'll just say that. Yeah. So. Yeah, they still had. The issues with it are still the same. Even though all the critics love this and they're fawning all over it. There are long stretches, even up to episode 5, where you got weird close-ups that are too extreme, and you have dialogue where they're whispering to each other. It doesn't help. Of course, after the special whiskey candy bar, they sound louder, but that's because of the candy. Anyway, they're not. They're still. Anyway, we're going to go on to the next one, the finale, right now.